Om. Om Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamatsyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam Shruti-smriti-purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat-pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Hello everybody, we are on the portion of the characteristics of a realized master, Jivan Mukta Lakshanaha, and Bhagwan is explaining their characteristics, which should become our goal. So that is a goal for us, that is a sadhana for us to achieve that state. And at this stage, when we have not really realized, at least see how they behave and try to imitate. That is the idea. So we have been seeing a lot of characteristics. I think there is no need to repeat because we have seen these in chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita as well. Chapter 2, 12 and 14, they give the characteristics of Asthita Pradnya Lakshana, Bhakta Lakshana and Gunatita Lakshana. 3 different types of personalities are explained. One who has gained that oneness through knowledge, one is through bhakti, and this Gunatita is through karma, by overcoming the gunas. So all the 3 are similar. And here the word Jivan Mukta means liberated while living. So I had explained to you Brahma with Varishtaha. He is a Brahma with Varishtaha. This is how he would, his behavior would express in these lines, on these lines. We are on verse 431, if I'm not mistaken, right? Okay. So we continue with the characteristics. Shanta Sansara Kalanaha Kalavanapi Nishkalaha Yasya Chittam Vinishchintam Sajivan Mukta Ishate. He whose concern about the world has been stilled, who has a body consisting of parts, yet is without parts, whose mind is free from anxiety, he is considered a Jivan Mukta. The last 3 words, Saha Jivan Mukta Ishate, you have noticed that they are being repeated, that those words are repeated to indicate that this is whom Bhagavan Shankaracharya would consider as a Jivan Mukta Purusha. And in this, it is his whose concern about the world has stilled. Now this stilled must be understood as it is not that he doesn't care about the world. You might think, oh, I don't care. Even our mind is still. If we say, when we hear something somewhere happened, our mind is still only because most of the time we don't care. It has not happened in India, so there's none of my relatives are there, etc., etc. So that is not what the stilling is. Stilling is because he has now woken up to the fourth state. The world he knows is an illusion. It is exactly like I would wake up from a dream. Would my mind be excited or agitated about whatever good or bad happened in that dream? Because once I wake up, I know that the dream was an illusion. And if it is an illusion when I wake up, when I was dreaming also, and when I thought that it was very, very real, that time also it was an illusion. Now, this person has woken up to the fourth reality, Turiya state. So he looks at the world and it's like an illusion. So he's very calm. Even this too shall pass. That is one Vedantic statement that we have, which applies to both happiness and sorrow. So even when happy things happen, good things happen to us, we have to remember that they're going to pass. That's why they're an illusion. And so when sadness comes, when sorrow comes, we must have forbearance, knowing that time shall pass and time is the best healer. So that is why he is still. His mind is still. Okay, it's happened. He's calm. He's equanimous. Okay. Kalavanapi nishkala, even though appearing to have parts, means his body has parts, but he is established in that one single reality. So for him, there are no parts, means the body also is now appearing like an illusion. Body is false. It is asar. So even though people will see his body as is only, suddenly his body is not going to change when the person realizes. But for him, you know how it is, we, even in our own body, we have the sense of I-ness. I means the alphabet I, not EYE. So you know what I think? It's my hands only, my legs, my tongue. So even when the tongue or cheek gets bitten by the teeth, we don't get angry at the teeth because we have that sense of minus, I-ness and minus both in the body. It is me and it is I. And therefore, when the finger pokes the eye, it's not like we're getting angry at the finger or cutting it off, etc. So that sort of a feeling now he has with the entire world, he has that feeling of oneness with everybody. So therefore, even though there are parts, means there are parts in my own body, and then there is a difference between me and somebody else's body as well. Like there's a difference between humans and humans also, and then human and animal, human and plant. So there is many parts, many differences, but he doesn't see them anymore. He sees them, but they don't affect him. That's how it should, because eyes are seeing that is an animal and that is a human being. Eyes are seeing that. So even though there are parts, he doesn't see them. He doesn't give them reality. That's a better way of putting it. Whose mind is free from anxiety. Why? Because there is no egocentric desire. When will your mind be anxious, agitated? When you have a desire and it is for your own selfish reasons, and then you're anxious whether that result is going to come or not, that desire is going to be fulfilled or not. But this person, being a Jivan Mukta, having recognized the self in him to be the self in all, actually has desire arises out of otherness. I think that thing is something different than me, therefore I want it. I've given you the example. Will I ever want a head? Something that I already have. Beautiful face I might, because I think I don't have a beautiful face. But head, I'm not going to desire a head because I have it. Now this person has got that feeling of I have it in the entire world. What will he desire? For whom will he desire? We saw that also. The ego is dissolved. The desire is for the ego. The desire is for the happiness of the ego. The ego is now dissolved. All the objects seem to him as his own reflection. He's not going to desire anything. Now, when he doesn't desire, he has no anxiety. A thought will come. okay, that maybe this should be done. Okay, that thought, whatever is to be done, is always for the good of the totality. It's never for, something for my own self or my family, because the whole world is my family. So it's for the good of the totality. And okay, if the totality wishes it to be fulfilled, it'll get fulfilled. Why should I be anxious? Because the doer is not there anymore. So that's why there is no anxiety. Yasya chitam chinta. Nischinta means no chinta, and visheshena nischinta. The V is also there. Vinishchintam. So very well established in the freedom from anxiety of whether things will happen or not happen. And the world is appearing as an illusion anyways. So whatever happens is an illusion only. It's an illusion. Okay. वर्तमानेऽपि देहेऽस्मिन् छायावदनुवर्तिनि अहन्ता ममता भावः जीवन्मुक्तस्य लक्षणम्. The absence of the I and mine concepts, even in this body, which persists like a shadow, this is the indication in a Jivan Mukta. So once again, we have seen this Chaya Kaya Vivek, Chaya shadow, Kaya body. And I've told you, like when we are walking, and if our shadow is there because there is sunlight on this side, so on the other side there'll be a shadow. Now if somebody spits on that shadow or goes over that shadow, or a car goes over it, a truck goes over it, we will not get angry because we know that it is shadow. It is not my body. For a Jivan Mukta, the body only, he recognizes it to be a shadow only. It is a Sat. I am not the body. So if anybody says anything hurtful to the body or does anything hurtful to the body, then it doesn't matter to him. Okay. There is a story that I remember in Swami Advayananda had told us when he was doing Panchadashi. I don't know if Chitra remembers. Anyway, there was a Muslim king, and he was camped somewhere, and so with him went all the harem, right? So in one tent there were all the ladies, and there was a realized master. He was walking, and he just went through that tent where all the ladies were. He didn't even realize, he was in his own trance. He was in his own world. He just walked through the tent. The king saw that and he got extremely angry, and he started running after him. So the Mahatma was running and the king was running, and the king was shouting, because he thought he purposely went through that harem, purposely went through the tent where all the women folk were there. And the king runs and cuts his hand off. Even though the hand is cut off, the Mahatma keeps walking only. He's not running, actually, he's walking. So he keeps walking. He doesn't even realize that his hand is, and the arm is bleeding, and he's walking. Then the king recognizes that this is a great person. If after cutting his arm off, if he's still walking without, having any recognition of his own body, he must be a great Mahatma. So the king recognized it. So he picks up the arm, and he goes with him, and he stops him and he says, I have done this. Don't you realize it? He says, oh, you did it? He says, okay, please just put it back. And the king puts it and it joins. Prarabdha. So this is how, like, the body itself has become like a shadow. If somebody comes and cuts our shadow, are we going to get angry? This is what it is. That is the Lakshanas, characteristic of Jivan Mukta, one who is realized. Highest realization this is. So the I and mine concepts are gone. The differences are gone, right? We have that in ignorance. I think I'm the body, so I am here and somebody else, you are all there. But when the concept of the body is only not there, then there is only oneness. It's the same example like Nisargadatta Maharaj gives of the space. Because the walls are there, I consider this to be a kitchen space and a living room space, a bedroom space. But if that wall is recognized to be illusory or is broken off, then the space is only one. So for him, even though the body is physically there, it is not destroyed. In his mind, it is not there. He only sees the oneness. That is a very big point here. Ahanta and mamata abhava. Abhava, absence of me and mine. That is Maya. I told you in Lakshman Gita, Ram Gita in Tulsi Ramayan, where Lakshman asks the question, what is Maya? Lakshman is the disciple, Sri Ram is the teacher. Lakshman says, what is Maya is one. There are 5 questions. One of them is, what is Maya? He says, me and mine and you and yours is Maya. This is the answer that is given there. So this person has conquered Maya. That's why Gunatita Purusha. So he's Gunatita also, he's Sthita Prajna also, he's Bhakti Bhakta also. He's a Jivan Mukta, totally free from everything. So since he has conquered the gunas, means he has conquered Maya. Once you conquer Maya, then you don't have this feeling of me and you, that is yours, this is mine. We don't have that. So that is why he doesn't this thing. Okay. And the last line I have underlined here in Gurudev's commentary, thus the relationship of the man of perfection with his body is exactly like your relationship with your shadow. When I have my shadow and somebody says, oh, that shadow looks ugly, I'm like, okay, who cares? That's what I would say. Okay, shadow is ugly, who cares? Because I know it is my shadow, it is not me. It is my shadow, it is not me. This is a very, very important point. So it's my body, it is not me. So if you say that my body is whatever, then okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. Atitananusandhanam bhavishyada vicharanam audasinyamapi prapte jivan muktasya lakshanam. No thought for the enjoyments of the past, no thought for the future, and indifference even for the present. This is the indication of a Jivan Mukta. This is verse 30 of chapter 3. 30 is the heart, where Bhagavan Shri Krishna has said, do not have worries about the past, do not have anxieties for the future, remain in the present, focused, and this thing. Now here, no thought of enjoyments for the past. He's not carrying the past with him. I've told you many times. We go for a movie, we see a preview, a trailer, immediately we're like, okay, now when is that movie going to be released? So we are carrying it with us. He will live in the moment. That's why we also saw Nidraluvat and Balavata. Child, in the moment he'll cry, then you just turn his attention somewhere else, he'll this thing. So same way, this Jivan Mukta Purusha, whatever has happened in the past, maybe there was a failure, maybe there was a success, he's not carrying it. Even anger, they don't carry. We get angry, and then even next time when we meet the person, we remember that, this guy did this to me. Whereas Gurudev used to get angry, very angry, if he used to see people are slacking off, not doing the work properly. But if that same person met him the next year for another camp, he would not even remember. People be talking as if nothing ever happened, like this thing. So the past is never carried. They do not carry the past like we do. And then they're not anxious for the future. The result is in the future. So anxiety of the result is not there. So there is no anxiety for the future. There is no worries about the past. The full attention is in the present. That's why when Mahatmas talk to us, even like Swamiji's, you talk to Guruji, Swami, any Swamiji who comes and you talk to him, you notice they will be fully attentive to you. They will not have any, any other thoughts. That time they will be in full attention. They'll give you 100% attention when you're talking to them, which we don't. People talk to us and our mind is this thing, and why is he telling me all this? Am I concerned? My own experience, I'm telling you, they're telling, and I'm like, am I interested in this? No, I'm not. So for a Jivan Mukta Purusha, though, he's always in the present. We are like, oh my God, I have to go eat dinner now. This guy is not putting the phone down only. So that's how we are. I mean, I am okay. Maybe you guys are not, but I'm like, so he is not like that. So the past, one thing you remember, past, they give the example of the rear view mirror, because we are all driving, we are drivers. We have to, rear view mirror is that there is a purpose. Okay. The rear view mirror is not to be looked at 24/7. You know, whole time you're driving, if you keep looking at the rear view mirror, then how will you look in the front? But the rear view mirror is there, means there must be some purpose. So when I was studying in young drivers, they told us every 8 seconds you should look at the rear view mirror. 8 seconds. Now then he only told me, he said, how will you know? You cannot look at the clock and say, oh, 8 seconds, let me look, 8 seconds, let me look. He said, generally it's every block. Once in every block, you look in the rear view mirror, and don't try to remember the license plate of the vehicle, but just a general, oh, there's a blue car, oh, there's an SUV for, oh, there's a truck following me. Just a general idea of what is behind you, you must get. And once every block, so once every 8 seconds, I remember that also, you should look. Same way, our past, we should keep it like the rear view mirror. We should look at our past to see, okay, I was doing this, and then last time I do that with my recipes. I'll be honest with you, especially when I'm doing, okay, last time, you know what, that is the mistake I made. Now let me do something else. So whatever that mistake we have made, for that we should keep the past handy. That this is something I did wrong. I took the wrong route, or I, wrong time. Maybe I shouldn't travel at this time. It's too busy. Only for that. Not like, oh, I did and I failed, now I'm going to fail even now. Not like that. So that is how this. So by saying that atita ananusandhana means when he's kalatita purusha, he has gone beyond time. Because this past and present and future are in the realm of time, past and future. But he is not concerned with that. Bhavishyada avicharanam. He doesn't think about the future, what will happen. Means think about the future means what result will come. I've given you the example many times of Swami Tapon Maharaj, who would be, he would never think where my food will come from. Maybe I should save for tomorrow. They don't have these type of thoughts. They know if the body is going to be fed, somebody will come and feed it. I have no problems with that, but we shouldn't do that because we are not realized masters. So we should do plan for our tomorrow's lunch and dinner. No thought for the future, and indifference even for the present. Now, indifference should not be misunderstood as not caring. It is not that I don't care what is happening, but dispassion. Indifference here is dispassion. So he is in the present. I like this, therefore I'll do it, and I don't like that, so therefore I will not do it. That is not there. That is udasina. Udasina is ut asina. Ut asina, sitting. Ut, above. So he's sitting above likes and dislikes. That is dispassion. That if the thing comes which he has to do, which he doesn't like, okay, fine, no problem. He likes, okay, fine, no problem. With us, we have a problem. When things come and we have to do things which we don't like, we do have a problem. That problem he doesn't have, he or she. Even for the this is how the Jivan Mukta lives. So some of these we can also try. Like not constantly remaining in the past. Usually as we get older, I think my mother-in-law used to say that because we are old, we don't have anything to look for in the future. We only have our past. Therefore, we keep talking about she used to talk a lot about. So she said, we only keep talking about the past. Okay, now she was not a Vedantic student, but I am. So at least I should not do that to my daughter-in-law. This is where I was born. This is it. You shouldn't bring the past in anything. Now that we know, we don't bring the past. But if they ask us for what happened, this is how did we can tell, oh, you know what, this is what I done while doing this, and then this went wrong, so you don't do this. So as an experience, but not like talking about the past. So we can follow those type of instructions. Okay. Guna dosha vishishtesmin swabhavena vilakshane sarvatra samadarshitvam jivan muktasya lakshanam. Looking everywhere with an equal eye on this world, riddled with elements possessing merit and demerit, characteristically different one from the other. This is the indication of a Jivan Mukta. This equal eye on the world is the eye of wisdom. Okay. Eye of wisdom is the third eye of Shiva that is described. It is not like a biological eye here in the middle of your forehead. It is your intellect. So even though the eyes see something, most common is you see the blue sky, but your intellect is telling you that the sky is not blue. Actually, there is no sky even. That intellect, which is telling you what is the, or you see the sunrise, you even admire it. Oh, what a beautiful sunrise. But your intellect knows that the sun is not moving. It is not rising. It is steady. What is happening is the movement of the earth is being superimposed on the sun. So that understanding that you have is your eye of wisdom. That is the eye. That is the third eye of Shiva, Lord Shiva. Or that is our third eye also. Intuition, intelligence. Okay. And so that even though his fleshy eyes are telling him, showing him the differences, his intelligence is telling him there is no difference, because he has recognized that oneness in him. That's why only he can be equal eye. He can look upon the world with an equal eye, because he has actually, we haven't, no matter how much we try, we're going to see the difference, because we haven't developed that third eye. But now that we have heard that this is a characteristic of the Jivan Mukta Purusha, we can try to be equanimous. We can only try. At least let's try. Even if the difference comes to our mind, it's okay. Then remind yourself that no, there is actually no difference. It is for whatever reason this person is behaving like this or whatever. And even this too shall pass. So that sort of understanding we must strengthen in our mind to come close to the characteristics of a Jivan Mukta Purusha. So the Jivan Mukta Purusha, the one who has recognized his self to be the self in all, sees the duality. Why? Because the duality is there, but doesn't give reality to it. That is the third eye. That is the intelligence. It says, yes, I do see. Just like, oh yeah, the sky is blue. Am I giving it reality? Don't I know that that is false? Exact same way. Yes, I see the duality. I see the multiplicity, but no, I know that there is no duality or multiplicity. Okay, that is the third eye. Sarvatra Samadarshitvam. So even though they are Samadarshitvam, we saw that everywhere, and whatever situation comes to him, whatever person comes to, whoever person comes to him, he is equal. Even Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, like, the realized master is same towards friend, enemy, relative, everybody, to a pandit, to a dull person, to an intelligent person. The realized master has Samadarshitvam because he's only looking at the substratum. He's not looking at, this is a friend, this is an enemy, this is a relative, that is a male, female, intelligent, dull. He's not looking at those things. He's just looking at that one common thread which is going through each and every one of them. And therefore in chapter 5 also Bhagavan says the cow and the dog and the elephant and the human and the chandala, everybody is same to this realized master, because he is looking at all of them with his eye of wisdom, that they are all Brahman alone, like me, they are also Brahman. So they are like me only. So even though I see the differences, there is no difference. That is what this Lakshana is. So I have some notes. This is for 435. So let's go to 435. Ishta nishtartha samprapto samadarshitaya atmani ubhayatra vikaritvam jivan muktasya lakshanam. When confronted with things pleasing or painful, to be unperturbed in both cases by maintaining an equal attitude. This is the indication of a Jivan Mukta. This is verse 47 from chapter 2. Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labha jaya jaya. This is what this is. So Ishta and Anishta. Ishta is what I desire. Anishta is what I did not want, what I don't like. Samprapto, you get because of your prarabdha. Sometimes you will get what you like, sometimes you will get what you don't like. But Samadarshitaya Atmani, in his mind, he looks upon whatever has come. This is what I like, this is what I don't like. This has come to me, I accept. So he has got no agitation, not happy when I got something that I like and very depressed when I got something that I didn't like. Ubhayatra vikaritvam. So by maintaining an Ubhayatra avikaritvam, which is Ubhayatra, Ubhaya, both in what? Both what I like, what Ishta and Anishta. What I like, what I don't like, in both, he has vikaritvam is a modification. So in his mind, there is no thought modification. What happens to us? What is the modification? When I get something which I like and which I wanted, I'm happy jumping up and down. There is a thought modification in my mind. Happiness comes. And when I get what I don't like, then depression or sorrow comes. That also is a modification. Those modifications are not happening in the mind of a Jivan Mukta because he is looking at them with the equal eye. Samadarshitva. They are both same. Gurudev's very famous example. Mr. Happiness comes. Yes, please have a cup of tea. Miss Sorrow comes. Yes, please have tea. Plus, I'm giving you samosa. So I'm accepting you also. Even I'm accepting sorrow more than I accept happiness. That is Samadarshitvam. Now, we can also, this is one thing that we can definitely practice. And I have my notes, how to remain equanimous in all situations. So one thing to know is that knowing that all is passing, even this too shall pass. So if Mr. Happiness comes, he is not going to stay too long. And suppose if Mr. Sorrow comes, Miss Sorrow comes, she also is not going to stay that long. So you know that this is passing, this is fleeting. That's why it's an illusion. So know that. So don't get too excited in happiness. Don't get too depressed in sorrow. This will pass. Second is, if I see, we never say why I got this happiness, but when sorrow comes, we definitely say why I got this, why me. Then you should know, you should remind yourself that this is because of my own past karmas that I have done in my past life. That's why this has happened. So there is no blame game. My prarabdha. Samarth Ramdas very beautifully says, when sorrow comes, you should be happy. And when joy comes, you should be sad. Are, what is this? So the idea is that when sorrow comes, know that your demerit is exhausted. Papa is being exhausted. So be happy. Chalo, sorrow came. This thing happened to my body. Okay, that means some demerit from my past is now exhausted. That is gone. Now I don't want any more demerit. Now when happiness comes, it is because of your punya karma. So know that your punya karma is exhausted. So you better be sad because punya is reducing now. You got happiness. Now that much punya reduced. That is to be remembered. Okay. And then otherwise, then there is always bhakti. If you can, if you're heart oriented, then know that whatever has come to you is because of God's will. Kenopanishad, even a blade of grass does not move without the will of God. Blade of grass, if it cannot move, what do you think? Such a big sorrow will come to me without his will? It can't. It can't. You must know that whatever has come to you, he has willed it. So if he has willed it, then have faith that he knows what he's doing. That's bhakti. Know that what he's doing must be good for me. So he's cleansing me. He's cleansing me of my papas. So it's a purification process. That is how, if you take it, you will be able to remain equanimous. Otherwise, you're going to keep on saying, why me, why me, why me, why me? There's no answer for that, why me? There's no answer. And even if somebody tells you the reason, what are you going to do? Sorrow you cannot change. It has come. So this is the practice of trying to be like a Jivan Mukta. They're not Jivan Muktas, but practice. So anything that works for you, you take. That's why we give 2-3 different methods. Okay. That's why it helps to read other masters also, because they say in different ways, they say the same thing, you know. So that it really hit me that I read it in the Manache Shlok, Verses to the Mind. Samarth Ramdas has written in Marathi, which I'm reading every day. There he says, sorrow, you be happy. In happiness, you be sad. Because past punya is exhausting, past papa is exhausting. Now, if you don't look at the sorrow and the happiness in the present, but if you look in the past, oh, my papa is exhausting. Isn't that a good thing? And happiness is standing in front of you. Oh, my punya karma is exhausting. So that is not good. That's how you do it. Brahmanandarasaswada asakta chittatayayate antarbahiravidnyanam jivan muktasya lakshanam. Constantly engaged in tasting the bliss of Brahman, a sannyasin entertains no distinctions of within and without. This is the indication of a jivan mukta. So because he is in that supreme state of bliss, he is in the source of bliss. This is Apuryamanam Achalam Pratisham. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, Bhagavan says that when the whole village is flooded with water, are you going to go look for some small source of water? So that way, this person, Jivan Mukta, is just surrounded by bliss everywhere, up, down, sideways, backwards, forwards, everywhere there is bliss. So where is the antar bahihi vidnyanam? Inside and outside, where is the distinction? There is no distinction. Right now we have the distinction because we consider ourselves to be the body. That's why there is a distinction. I am sitting here and I am not there. I am sitting here and you are sitting there. That distinction is there because of the identification with the body. If that is disconnected, then there is nothing. So the outside manifestations of a Jivan Mukta Purusha will be manifold, but within the mental state will be the same. So even if you see a realized master acting frantically, like Gurudev, okay, best Swami Vivekananda, they went out in the world and they lectured and they did this and they did that and everything. And then you see masters like Raman Maharshi, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa never left Dakshineshwar. He never left the confines of the temple. Aurobindo also, they say, he went to Pondicherry and he would come out. He had an ashram, and apparently in the first few years, he would come out and sit in the yard, front yard or garden or whatever. The last 25 years of his life, he was in his bedroom. He never came out of his room. 25 years. Can we even sit for 5 minutes in one place? I read that somewhere, That's what makes them great. That's why everybody remembers Sri Aurobindo. That is the greatness. That imagine not coming out of your room. And not that he did it on his own. It's not like he was in prison or something. He did it. I mean, there are people in prison who don't come out, but that is against their wish. He was happy inside because you see what is happening. He's in bliss. Oh, what does it matter whether I'm in the front yard, backyard, bedroom, hall? What does it matter? I'm in bliss no matter where I am. That is the condition of a Jivan Mukta. So for us, in Marathi, Santa Tukaram has a saying, Thevile anante tasechi rahave. Thevile anante means how the Lord has kept me, I should stay like that in peace. Just don't keep running here, there, and all that. That is how they are behaving. So if we want to be like them, then we should be okay. Today it was raining, so I couldn't go for a walk. Okay, happy, no problem. Today I was very busy. I couldn't go do this. Okay, fine, no problem. Today my body was not feeling very well. I cannot go out. Okay, fine, no problem. That's how we have to be able to be. Okay. And here sannyasin is the realized master. No distinctions of within and without. I've underlined one line in the second or in the first paragraph only of Gurudev's commentary. Mind is a cancerous ulcer which bleeds out sorrows. Yo, what language now? As long as you work through the mind, you will suffer. Mind, because it's the mind that telling, oh, yo, I should go out. Yo, I should do this. I should do that. Mind is running out in helter-skelter. So self-control of the mind is very important. Okay. All right. Dehendriyadau kartavve mamaham bhava varjitah audasinena yastishtet sajjivan mukta lakshanah. Having no idea of I and mind with regard to the body, sense organs, etc., nor to duties, living with an attitude of indifference, this is the indication of a Jivan Mukta. Once again, a repetition, I and mine with regard to the body, because body has been falsified. Body has been falsified. So now what is there? This is mine, this is yours. It's not there with regard to the body, sense organs, nor to any duties, because the doership is not there. The ego is dissolved. So he doesn't feel that it is my duty to do something, because it is the ego that is feeling all those things. Isn't it my duty to look after my family? Isn't it my duty to look after my children, my grandchildren? This is my duty. Well, all that duty thing is being felt by the ego. Now, there is a time in our life when we have young children. Definitely it is your duty. And that's why at that point we tell you to do karma as a karma yoga. So consider looking after your children as not only looking after children, eating, breathing, sleeping, everything should be considered as a duty. And what it will do is, when you keep considering every action as a duty, you will one day go above that feeling that this is my duty. That means the ego will get thinned. Tanu Manasa, I told you one word, where the ego gets thinned. So it doesn't feel like this is my duty to do. In case of Raman Maharshi, I have told you this, his mother came to him and told him, said to him, you are my son. It is your duty to look after me. And he kept quiet. He didn't say anything. When she went, he wrote her a letter saying, everybody is being looked after by God. There's no question of me looking after you. So later, in her later life, she also came and lived in the ashram only then with her son. In the ashram, she was also living his mother, right? So we feel that. Why? Because we feel that we have given birth to this child. So it is my duty. There is a Jivan Mukta Purusha, like he knows he's not the body. So he knows that she's also not the body. So my birth from her womb is an illusion only. I was never born. That thought he is established in. That's why this. And audasini, once again, indifference, dispassion. Indifference must not be understood as not caring. Okay, it's not a not caring. It is ut asina, staying beyond likes and dislikes. So therefore, there is no duty even to the body. We should eat and take care of our body as a duty to our body. But once they have realized this to be an illusion, they don't think that's why Raman Tapon Maharaj and all, he never bothered. He didn't think that it was because we think, oh, it is my duty to eat healthy food. It is my duty to take right now we are feeling that we should do that. We should do that, because until you think Tapon Maharaj was thinking, oh, I didn't get any vitamins today. Where is my food? Where is my healthy food? Vegetable salad. I didn't get salad today. No. But they can do it. We can't. We can't, we must not, we must eat healthy, and therefore superimpose the idea of duty on to the food, the duty of body. It is my duty to my body to eat healthy food, to keep it healthy. Okay, because we are still identified with the body. That is what we do. And mama and living with an attitude. So mama, aham and mama is not there. Ego is dissolved, no? This mama depends on aham. Aham and idam thoughts are there, two thoughts. Aham is I, idam is other. The other idam thought is always dependent on the I thought. Now the I only is dissolved. How can there be any mama? There is no idam for them. Okay. Vidnyat atmano yasya brahma bhava shruter balat bhava bandha vinirmuktaha sajivan mukta lakshanaha. Deep-rooted knowledge that the self is Brahman, affirmed by the scriptures and free from the bondage of transmigration. This is the indication of a Jivan Mukta. Deep-rooted knowledge means realization. It is not an intellectual understanding of the knowledge, because we also have the intellectual understanding of the knowledge. That doesn't give us realization. We are not realized because we do not have that deep-rooted knowledge. Deep-rooted knowledge will come only in Nididhyasanam. When that Nirvikalpa Samadhi will be reached. That will become deep-rooted knowledge at that point. But for him, it is. So the self in me is the self in all, and the Jiva is nothing but Brahman. Jiva Brahma Aikya has been realized by the realized master. For such a person and affirmed by the Brahma, okay, how do you say that you got, but Shruti is saying it. Shruter Balat. On the basis of what Shruti has said, he has done Nididhyasana. So Shruti says, if you do this Shravan Manana Nididhyasana, and if you come to recognize yourself as the Supreme Self, Shruti is saying that, then you have got moksha. I can say, yes, but is it according to what Shruti has said? So on the strength of what Shruti has said, the Vedas have said, this person has done Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam. In Nididhyasana, he has reached Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So now he is Bhava Bandha Vinirmuktaha, Bhava Sansara. Bandha, bondage. From the bondage of transmigration means he is not going to have another birth anymore. There will be no birth. Vinir Visheshena Muktaha. Vinir Muktaha. So Visheshena means very well released from bondage. And the bondage is to the world in the by way of birth and death. In chapter 14, Bhagavan says there is one is that physical birth and death. For a Jivan Mukta Purusha, and that also we saw that there are no agitation. See, one is the physical birth and physical death. Okay, that will happen. But every moment to moment also we have birth and death. You know how? I'm born as a happy person, then tomorrow I die as then I'm born as a sorrowful person, then that person dies, then I'm born as a jealous person, then that person dies, then I'm born as a greedy person, then after some time that person dies. So this sort of birth and death, every moment it is happening. And there Bhagavan says that the one who reaches me, he's freed from this birth and death, more than that physical death, which will come at a later date. Today, right now, at this moment, we are being born and dying. Birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. I'm born as a teacher. Now I'll be born as a TV watcher. I'll die as a teacher. So this birth and death, and especially with regard to thoughts, constant birth and constant death is going on in the mind, that he gets freed from. So there is no agitation. He's never born as a jealous person. So there's no question of dying. He's never born only. Death is certain to those who are born. Now this person, when I take birth as a happy person and jump up and down, I will die one day as that happy person. Why? Because happiness is not everlasting. It's not everlasting. Same with sorrow. Same with sorrow. If I'm born as a sorrowful person and I'm very, very sorrowful today, in a few days' time, I will die as a sorrowful person. I will die. Whoever gets born dies. Jivan Mukta, he's freed from that birth and death as well. Physical death, of course, born is there. Physical death is liberated, but even right now, that's what Jivan, liberated while living. That is the liberation. So what we can do is we can also try to remain equanimous in both happiness and sorrow. Everything boils down to joy and sorrow. So when joy comes, don't be, jumping up and down. And when sorrow comes also, bear it with patience, forbearance. Okay, this has come to me. Let me face it. Whatever is to be done should be done. Treatment has to be taken. Medicine has to be taken. Whatever the doctor, do it. But don't get upset. Don't get upset. Don't be upset. Okay, that is the Bhava Bandha Vinirmukta. That also is there. Dehendriyeshvaham bhava idam bhavastadanyake yasya no bhavata kvapi sajivan mukta ishyate. He who has no ego with regard to the body, sense organs, etc., nor the concept of this with regard to other things, he is considered a Jivan Mukta. Here, he who has no ego with regard to body, ego means identification. The definition of, there are many definitions of ego. Here, the definition of ego is identifying with one thing or the other. That is the definition of ego. Ego is identification with one thing or another. This person has now cut off his identification with the body, mind, and intellect. Okay, therefore, Bhagavan is saying here, he who has no ego, that he has no identification with the BMI, nor the concept. Now, with the concept of idam comes, I told you, idam is dependent on aham. There cannot be any idam. That's why in deep sleep, when we are in deep sleep, because the aham is folded, do we know that there's some other person is there in the room, or TV is, somebody is watching TV, the world is there? We don't, because aham is sleeping. The minute that aham wakes up in the morning, suddenly, oh, there is my TV, there is my this is this is that, and all comes. So because he has cut off his identification with the body, he has recognized his aham to be the supreme aham, pure conscious. Aham is actually pure consciousness, but I have mistaken it to be my ego. When I say I did it, it is ego, my ego did. So because he has cut off his identification and he has recognized himself to be the supreme self, there is no question of idam. The aham is dissolved. Because in the pure consciousness, in the capital I, like Gurudev would put it, everything is included. There is nothing other than the capital I. There's nothing other than the pure consciousness. So then the question of idam doesn't arise at all. Only with respect to the ego, that aham, then there is idam. So that's why he says that, and the first line I have underlined, all these verses indicating the Jivan Mukta are not for judging others. It is only self-analysis. So you go into your own mind and you see how you are behaving, and then correct your behavior. Now that you have heard so much, you have heard it in Bhagavad Gita also, you heard it here also. So let us try and correct ourselves. It's a practice, it's a process. Okay, it just doesn't come overnight. We have to remind ourselves, no, don't do this, don't do this. This is not how the Jivan Mukta is. Do this. Okay. Na pratyag brahmanor bhedam kadapi brahma sargayoho pradnyayo vijanati sajivan mukta lakshanaha. Through knowledge, he who never distinguishes between the Jiva and Brahman and between the universe and Brahman is indicated as a Jivan Mukta. The three basic questions of Vedanta are, who am I? What is this world? And who is the creator of this world? That is the three things. Jiva, Jagata, Ishvara. Why Ishvara comes into this thing? Because no matter how arrogant we might be, no human being thinks that he created the world, he or she. We may be rich, we may be famous, we may be, arrogant, we may be whatever we are. We might think ourselves to be the greatest intelligent person on earth, or the most dullest person on earth either. We may be either most, but nobody can think that I created the world. That at least we have to give. Nobody thinks I created the world. Okay. So therefore the question arises, then I didn't create it, then who created it? And the answer, typical answer is Ishvara, God created it. So what he's saying is, through knowledge, knowledge is the recognition of the Jiva being one with Brahman. The minute he recognizes his oneness with Brahman, he simultaneously, Yugapat, he recognizes that he's the substratum of the world. He or she also can recognize. So he or she, everything happens. So the triad merges in at one stroke. In one stroke, the triad is merged. Right now, there is the triad. There is the me subject, the object, and knowing. The knower, the known, and the knowing, or like Gurudev would say, experiencer, experienced, and experiencing. That triad is constantly there. That merges. Therefore, he says that between Jiva and Brahman and between universe and Brahman. So who created there is no universe, there is only Brahman. There is no three things. There are no three things. There is only one, and that is Brahman, not me. Okay, that's why he says. Any questions? I thought I would complete this section, but we'll complete it next time, no problem. Few more verses to go. I'll stop here today. Yes.
This some kind, it resembles verse 109, where you gave Lakshana of, Sanatya Bhinnat, where the Maya and everything. Now the person is become realized. From that perspective, this is given. Is that right?
109, you're saying? Let me see what 109 was. 109 in the same book, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just see.
Sanat
109. Yeah. Maya is neither existing, no, because not independent. Okay. Neither existent, nor both, neither same, nor different, nor both, neither made up of parts of it. Okay. Yeah. So what it is this now he has realized for himself.
Yeah.
109 gives us a description of what Maya is. Right? Therefore, it is said Maya is neither existent nor non-existent. In the state of ignorance, we give reality to Maya. Okay, the Jivan Mukta Purusha, once he realizes himself to be Brahman, he recognizes that there is no Maya. Therefore, then the definition of Maya comes, Sama iti Maya, that which is not there. Because he recognizes the entire, see, this world is appearing real because of Maya. Maya is something which makes you see something which is not there. So the world is not real, but Maya is making you think that it is real. Now the Jivan Mukta Purusha has recognized himself to be the Brahma, to be Brahman. So the world is an illusion. This is in state of ignorance. Yeah. 109 is in the state of ignorance. Right. Now we are studying Jivan Mukta Purusha. So this is a state of knowledge. Okay, clear. All right. Any other questions? All right, so we'll start from 441. Next week, it's not the long weekend or anything, right? November. So we will have a class next Friday. A Sunday, those who are attending Sunday class, there is no Sunday class. Please remember, because the Vancouver Chinmaya mission is having, we are having our AGM. So Sunday, there won't be a class. But Monday, there is a class. And Monday, we'll be starting with the discussion on chapter 17. Okay. All right. Om swasti prajabhya paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhyo shvamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyaha prithvi sasya shalini desho yam kshobarahita brahmana santu nirbhayaha. Om sarvesham swasti bhavatu sarvesham shantir bhavatu sarvesham purnam bhavatu sarvesham mangalam bhavatu sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramayaha sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kashchit dukha bhag bhavet. Om asatoma sadgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amratam gamaya. Om purnamadav purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnameva avashishyate. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om, everybody.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.